we're live. I'm just going to check that. It's ever so funny. I'm actually not at home today. So although it's at home with Hayley, I'm at the lake house. And normally I would have our village clock chiming to say it's time to start. So it's ironic, really, because at the moment I have ducks, children running outside, my dog. So I will apologize in advance if there's lots of background noise. It is the holidays and I'm not at home today. And you may hear all three: children running about, the dog barking, and the ducks chasing the dog, probably. So there might be a bit of drama today, but we'll try and keep it simple, and I'll try and keep the noise down as much as I possibly can. Right, okay, we are live. That's good news. If you can pop in the chat box that you can hear me loud and clear. I can see that people are coming through. We have 698 people registered. So we'll wait for some of those to come through. I can see them all coming through now. Perfect. Right, so welcome to At Home with Hayley. As I said, please do let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. I can see that the numbers are climbing and people are coming through, but there is no communication in the chat box as of yet. So if you can just pop in the chat box, one of you, that you can hear me, and I'll get started with today's show. Hopefully everyone's had a wonderful Easter. I can't believe we're already in April. Thank you, Tammy. She can hear me loud and clear. That's fantastic. Right. Okay. So welcome to At Home with Hayley. This is a property show we've been running now. This is our 72nd episode. So we've been running now for quite some time. It is a show where we give you market updates around the UK real estate market. And of course, we do have property experts that come in and talk about their field of expertise, and different power team members as well that you can tap into, and tools that can help you within your property business. So we are all things property. We are free. We are forever free as well. There's a lot of information. All sessions are recorded and will go onto our YouTube channel also, which is Your Freedom Empire. But before we actually jump into today's update, I can see that there's actually lots of names that I'm not familiar with. So I will actually introduce myself. So I am Hayley Andrews. I'm the co-founder of Your Freedom Empire, which is a business and property training organisation. We are global, but we do have a local heart. We're based in Dudley, which is not too far from Birmingham, for those that are local. And we are across 18 different countries and teach people from all over the world on how to invest in the UK property market across every different strategy you could think of. I have been in the industry now since 2002. I'm a portfolio landlord across commercial and residential. I've done and do everything from buy-to-lets, lease options, rent-to-rent, commercial conversions into residential, hotels, serviced accommodation, sourcing, development, and absolutely everything in between, and anything you can think of. When people ask me, what do you do? I say, I do whatever makes me money. So we invest in businesses as well. So we do a bit of everything. I am known as the HMO Queen and serviced accommodation expert. However, I do a lot of everything. So there is no strategy that I can't talk about. So if you do have any questions or you want to pop them in the chat box, all of our sessions are private, all questions are private, and I wouldn't call out names or anything like that. Just so that you're aware, I am actually struggling with concussion at the moment, so I might not be my usual self, so you'll have to bear with me. I had a nasty accident which resulted in a head injury. I'm getting better every single day. I feel absolutely fine, but I do have a bit of concussion. I am a bit sore and bruised, and hopefully it won't have a negative impact on today's session, but you will have to bear with me as I'm reading through the market update, just because my eyesight is not that great at the moment and it comes and goes. So hopefully that doesn't last too much longer. It's driving me insane. For those that know me, I'm a control freak, and to not have full control over things like that is not good for someone of my personality profile. But I feel absolutely fine and wouldn't have missed this session for the world. So right. I am now going to jump onto the market update. I'm going to pop off camera while I do that, and I'm going to go through what's been happening in the UK property market in April. So I'm going to try and spice it up. So welcome to At Home with Hayley and the April 2024 extravaganza. Trying to spice that up. So before we actually dive into the nitty-gritty, actually and our UK, beloved UK housing market, why don't we take a moment to celebrate your achievements? Pop in the chat box, big, small, or even somewhere in between. Each win is a galaxy of greatness, and all progress is progress in Hayley's world. And yes, that's a place. I live in Hayley's world quite a lot. That's probably why I'm smiling all the time. So whether you've mingled with property moguls, nailed your first networking gig, bagged a jaw-dropping deal, or simply perfected your morning routine, spill the beans. I invite you to share your stories in the chat box. Let's celebrate your achievements and inspire one another with your wins. Or even if you want to give a shout out to someone that's made a difference to your month or your quarter or your year so far, please feel free to do that. Remember, all of the messages are privacy. Your privacy is paramount to us. Your name will only grace our conversation if you wish it to. And so pop them in the chat box and I'll read them out after this market update. I am operating one computer today, and my market update is on another page. So if you do have any issues with sound or anything like that, please pop in the chat box and I will quickly keep popping back to check that. So now, hold on to your hats as we roller coaster through the housing market here in the UK and look at the updates. So big news, or biggest news, I would say. So 1% mortgages unleashed. As Yorkshire Building Society is stirring the pot with a £5,000 deposit mortgage, promising a fantasy of home ownership with up to 99% loan to value. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, so pop your thoughts in the chat box. So what impact will this have on the property market? So initially, it seems like a positive move, offering a pathway for more first-time buyers to step onto the property ladder with a smaller deposit. However, while mortgages may indeed assist first-time buyers in joining the property ladder due to a much smaller deposit requirement, it's predicted that the sudden surge in demand could drive up house prices overall, which is not good. So will it be market mayhem or will it be market magic? So the sparkler of an offer might just light the fuse on the property prices, with history of incentives like Help to Buy sending the market into a frenzy. In my opinion, we are tiptoeing on the edge of another price hike roller coaster. Historically, government incentives such as Help to Buy, stamp duty holidays were created to support buyers. However, they inadvertently fueled a staggering rise in house prices. And it all comes down, as I always say, and have said for a very, very long time, simple laws of supply and demand. So 10 years ago, the average house price sat at £188,265. However, today it sits around £281,913. So a substantial increase of £93,648. Therefore, another potential spike in house prices naturally would raise concerns. So there are a few potential downsides of 1% mortgages for the mortgage borrower too, which is not something many people are talking about. But borrowers securing a 1% mortgage could find themselves burdened with higher mortgage payments due to both the larger loan size and the higher interest rates. Mortgage lenders typically view 99% loan to value mortgages as particularly high risk lending and over leveraging, so the rates available are considerably higher than they would be for a lower loan to value borrowing. Furthermore, of course, 1% mortgages present a higher risk of the mortgage borrower falling into negative equity. Again, not something many people have spoken about, but if price is declined suddenly after taking out the mortgage, the borrower will hold minimal equity due to paying such a low deposit. This can result in them owning or owing more money than the value of their home, also known as negative equity. This can be problematic if they want to move house, sell, or when they come to remortgage, also an issue for them. So whilst 1% mortgages may appear attractive for first-time buyers who are struggling to save a potential deposit, it's important that they consider the risks involved. It's more cost effective and less risky to save a high or as much of a deposit as you can afford to mitigate the risks and avoid being trapped in mortgage prison. So reducing the loan to value ratio should provide access to lower mortgage rates and less potential for negative equity. So in summary, borrower beware, grabbing a 1% mortgage. Picture yourself at the glamorous casino where the stakes are high and so are the risks. Higher payments and the ghost of negative equity could turn the dream sour, leaving more than just a hangover. It's a gamble. So borrowers, ask yourself this question: are you feeling lucky? On a positive note, and for us as developers, for developers looking to build to sell, it's great news and developers' delight, basically. A new sea of buyers is set to flood the market. And for builders looking to sell, it's time to pop the champagne, cue the confetti and the cannons, because we will have a surge of first-time buyers hitting the market. So first-time buyers take the throne again, commanding a record 1/3 of the market, with London's first-timers clinching a whopping 50% of sales. It's a historic high tide in home ownership. So first-time buyers are now accounting a record 1/3 of the market activity. They purchased 33% of homes in Britain so far in 2024, up from 2023's total of 29%. If this continues, their share of the market will be at an all-time high level, as it compares to just 17% in 2014. With London seeing the biggest increase, first-time buyers purchased a record 50% of all homes sold in the capital so far this year, a 9% uplift from the 41% record in 2023, and up from 28% a decade ago. So it's pretty impressive now. So let's see what Zoopla says. So Zoopla's zesty insights. So with the UK housing, sales are getting spicier by the minute, discounts are shrinking, sales are soaring, and the vibe is balancing out. Is 2024 the year the market finds its rhythm again? So let me know your thoughts, pop them in the chat box. Let's keep the conversation going. So Zoopla issued its latest house price index, which is March 2024. It's always behind, showing housing market activity improving across all key measures as average discount to asking price dropped to 3.9%, or £10,000 if you want to put that into monetary terms, the lowest level since July 2023. So a few key points from this publication then. So housing market activity improves across all key measures, led by sales agreed, which are up 9% compared to a year ago. Sellers are accepting an average of around £10,000 discount. That equates to 3.9% on the asking price to secure a sale. A marked improvement on 14,250 average discount, which equated to 4.5% seen in November 2023. So annual price growth has slowed to 0.3%, which is still an improvement on the 1.4% seen, negative 1.4% seen in October 2023. Although house price growth is higher than Q3 2023 across all areas, it remains negative across southern England. 2024 is set to be a year of improved sales volumes and a flat UK housing house prices, meaning a more balanced market for buyers and sellers, I would say. So definitely a good time to be looking to buy. 28th of March 2024, London. So the housing market activity has improved across key measures in the first quarter of 2024, including sales activity, house price growth, and the supply of homes for sale, which is a fifth higher than last year, according to Zoopla data. So sales activity continues to build momentum. New sales agreed are 9% higher than a year ago, with 7% more homes sales agreed over quarter, the first quarter of 2024 versus the first quarter of 2023. So this trend is encouraging more sellers to list their homes for sales, with 20% more homes for sale compared to this time last year. So all good news. This is also being supported by the macroeconomic environment, with mortgage rates, of course, now at 4.4%. Bank of England's stats for that's from the Bank of England stats for a 75% loan to value 5-year fixed rate loan. That's down by 1% from a high of 5.8% in June 2023. And UK consumers' confidence regarding their personal finances at the highest level in more than 2 years. The strongest growth in sales activities continues to be in areas with more affordable house prices, such as Yorkshire and the Humber, which is up 11%, where the house prices are in average around £185,000. And the Northwest up by 13%, with a average house price of £194,500. So the strongest growth in new sellers listing homes in the Southwest is up 28% and Northeast up 26%. Discounts to asking price achieved narrows in the first quarter of this year. Further evidence of improving market conditions is the narrowing in the discount between the asking price and the agreed purchase price, which is now in line with pre-pandemic levels. The average discount from asking price to agreed purchase price narrowed from 4.5% to 3.9% in March 2024, the lowest level since June 23. This equates to, as I said earlier, £10,000 discount in comparison to just over £14,000, and reflects a combination of greater realism from sellers on their asking price and growing buyers' confidence. This is a national trend, but discounts remain larger in London and South East, where there is an average discount in asking prices of around the 4.3%, which equates to around £19,500. So what's next for interest rates and the housing market? So greater availability of homes for sales will keep price rises in check. The average estate agent had almost 30 homes for sale in Q1 of this year, a return to pre-pandemic averages as well. This means buyers have more choice and more room to negotiate, especially where homes are falling, to attract buyers' interest in a timely manner. Rising house price or household disposable incomes are expected to be the primary driver of improved housing affordability in 2024. Disposable income are projected to increase by up by around 3.5% over this year, while house prices look set to remain broadly flat over the year as well. So the timing and scale of interest rate reductions over H2 are other key factors that could boost market segments and reduce mortgage rates as well. Expectations of lower interest rates are readily priced into fixed rate mortgages today. Lower interest rates would likely result in further modest declines in mortgage rates, but how far depends on how low money markets see base rates falling. So mortgage rates around the 4% range would support sales volumes, but would require incomes to continue to rise faster than house prices to help reset affordability, especially in southern England. So rising wages and falling mortgage rates have boosted consumer confidence, and this is feeding into improving levels of housing market activity over the first quarter of 2024. UK mortgage approvals hit a 17-month high, says the Bank of England. So just before we switch over to the rental update, I'm just going to check that there's no issues with sound or anything like that. No, everyone's good. Right, so I'm going to pop back over. So now switching gears to the rental realm. So the Renters Reform Bill saga, shall we say, in a plot twist, 4 in 5 tenants are clueless about the biggest rental shake-up in over 30 years. Why does that not surprise me? So from abolishing no-fault evictions to doubling notice periods for rent hikes, yet irony dances in the air as many wonder if the changes may truly hit the mark. So let's have a look at this and see what it's all about. So the bill represents, as I said, the biggest set of changes the rental market has seen over the last 30 years. So it's worrying that so many tenants are unaware of what it actually is and what it seeks to achieve, but also ironic as well. And sorry, I have to laugh. I'll blame this on the concussion, and I'll try to remain professional. But it is laughable, really, isn't it? So also a significant proportion of tenants were pessimistic about whether the reforms would bring about any tangible change. Some 42% said the bill would change very little about the sector, and 37% do not believe it will be implemented. What's your thoughts on this? So it's just a quick summary for those that don't actually know. In the bill, we have Section 21 no-fault evictions to be abolished, periodic tenancies to become standard, notice periods for rent increases to be doubled, tenants given more rights to keep pets in properties, a new ombudsman covering all private landlords, a property portal for private landlords and tenants, applying the decent home standard to the private rental sector, a ban on renting to families with children or those on benefits to be outlawed, and an overhaul of rent repayment orders as well. So that's just to name a few. All really bad news for landlords and supposedly great news for tenants, despite the fact only 1 in 5 know or care about these changes. awkward, but swiftly moving on. People often ask me, what stage are we at, and when will it be implemented? I can't answer all of that question or both of those questions, but I can answer one part of that question. So from the bill's grand unveiling to the nail-biting debate, amendments and the inevitable clashes of Parliament. So the different stages are, first of all, there's a first reading. So the Renters Reform Bill was announced to Parliament in May 2023. Second reading, this occurred in October 2023. This gave MPs of all parties the opportunity to debate the bill in Parliament. One of the biggest changes at this stage was the announcement that the courts would need to be reformed prior to Section 21 being abolished. Committee stage, this is a line-by-line examination of the bill, which occurred at the end of November 2023. The biggest outcome of this stage were that the Decent Home Standard would be applied to the sector for the first time. Further support to protect the cycle nature of student tenancies, a ban on landlords and agents from discriminating against tenants on benefits, and overhaul of the rent repayments order. So report stage comes after that. This allows members of Parliament to debate the bill again further, make further amendments. This is where we're currently at. So we're currently at this report stage within the process. And the third reading, this is the opportunity for final debate on the bill, and it will then go to the House of Lords. So when the final stages will actually happen, no one knows. But moving on to the rent control rumble. To be a landlord in Scotland. If you thought being a landlord in England had its challenges, spare a thought for those in Scotland, with proposals that could freeze rent increases for up to 5 years. It's a move that's causing quite the stir. It's delicate dance of balancing tenants' rights with maintaining a healthy property market, a tale of suspense and impending doom. Scotland stands on the brink of a rental rebellion, challenging the very fabric of property investment north of Hadrian's Wall. So let's look into this. Buy-to-let landlords face a ban on rental increases, a report from the market states. So are any of you landlords looking to buy and become a landlord in Scotland? Pop in the chat box. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and reasons if you're exiting the market in Scotland, or reasons for entering the market in Scotland if you are looking to move into that market. So this report actually states that landlords face the very real prospect of being banned from increasing rents in Scotland for up to 5 years under plans proposed by the Scottish Government. The move to bring long-term rent control to Scotland has led to concerns from industry leaders that buy-to-let landlords will be deterred from investing in the property market north of the border, reducing the supply of much-needed rental stock. Patrick Harvey introduced the measures in the Housing Scotland Bill alongside the Housing Minister. It includes proposals for long-term rent controls that would put a cap on prices for tenancies. The measures come at a time when rents in Scotland are rising faster than almost any other country in Europe. Local authorities will be able to apply to Holyrood to ask for permission to designate a rent control zone. In my opinion, this will be a complete disaster, and also you have to ask, did they actually learn anything from their moves on the rental freezes in 2022? Apologise for my Rottweiler in the background. She's actually a miniature dachshund, but she thinks that she's a Rottweiler. Anyhow, the bill notes that this could mean no price rises in the area, a regulation period that would last up to 5 years before being reviewed again. Other parts of the Scottish bill include the rights for tenants to keep pets to decorate their homes, while there will be stronger protection against evictions as well. Harvey said, a fairer, well-regulated rental sector is good for both tenants and landlords. Tenants benefit from improved conditions and security, while good, responsible landlords will thrive when their good practice is recognised by regulation. Sorry, I have to chuckle at this nonsense, and he's really just not in touch with anything that's going on, in my opinion. But back on track, and as I said, remaining professional, and trying to remain impartial. It doesn't always happen for those that know me. The director of the Scottish Property Federation described the legislation as disappointment for anyone seeking to bring build-to-rent properties to Scotland, as there was a lack of clarity on many elements. So, yeah, finally someone that has some common sense talking here. He also said there is no solution to the housing crisis that does not involve greatly increasing the supply of new homes across for sale and rent. Should the legislation be approved by the Scottish Parliament unamended, we risk repeating the damaging effects of the emergency rent freeze legislation passed in 2022, when investment for Scotland rental housing was frozen, deterred and diverted to projects outside of Scotland. We estimate that there is currently between 2.5 billion and 3 billion of investment now at risk that could deliver quality homes for rent in Scotland. David Alexander, Chief Executive of the property group, DJ Alexander, commented, once again, rent control areas are being proposed without evidence that they have ever worked anywhere in the world. The rent experience in Scotland of the rent cap introduced in October has resulted in unprecedented demand and rents rising at the fastest rate, and a housing sector that is in crisis, with 4 local authorities having said they were experiencing a housing emergency. It is unlikely, therefore, that this will work in practice, and it certainly won't be beneficial to tenants. Crucially, it also ignores the fact that landlords, property investors and corporate institutions have very real options of relocating elsewhere or simply walking away from the sector altogether. Timothy Douglas, head of policy and campaigns at Property Mark, said the measures will do nothing but add extra burden on landlords and local authorities, with no additional reward for the tenants at a time when resources and finances are under extreme pressure. So do you think rent caps will work? And moving across to England, and do you think that if Labour gets in, we'll see something similar proposed here in England? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So while we're talking about Labour, apparently Labour are going to see the biggest majority landslide since they came to power in 1997, with Tony Blair's Labour defeating John Major. Now, I have to admit, I vote Conservative, and while I agree that this government is the least Conservative government I've ever known, as they have, in my opinion, really lost their way, which is most probably why they've lost most people's votes and will have to face defeat. I cannot, however, vote for Labour. Keir Starmer, in my opinion, is a joke and will be bad news for all. So unfortunately, or fortunately, Conservatives will still get my vote, but only because they're the best of both evils at this moment in time. But let me know. Again, it is private, so I won't call this out. Who are you voting for as a landlord and developer, and those that are involved in the property industry? So how do the two parties actually differ? So both Conservative and Labour parties have distinct positions and proposals concerning the UK housing crisis, each addressing, of course, key issues like private renting reform, housing supply and support for first-time buyers as well. The Conservative Party focused on, of course, the Renters Reform Bill, which we went through earlier, which will aim to abolish no-fault evictions, introduce rolling tenancies and apply the Decent Home Standard to the private rental sector for the first time. Their approach to rent controls was cautious, with no support for setting initial rent levels. The Conservative aims to boost housing supply by 300,000 new homes annually. This is a target that, in my opinion, and has been described as unrealistic. They also expressed intentions to assist first-time buyers with mentions of revisiting to the Help to Buy scheme and extending the right to buy to housing association tenants as well. So Labour, on the other hand, expressed doubts about Conservatives' Renters Reform Bill, promising a renters' character that would end no-fault evictions and allow more rights for tenants. Labour's stance on rent controls was more open, with significant figures within the party, like the Mayor of London, advocating for them. However, the party had moved away from a pledge to introduce rent controls as well. Labour also planned to reinforce housing supply by committing to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years, and reinstating mandatory housing targets for first-time buyers. Labour's proposed measures to prioritise them over buy-to-let landlords and second homeowners for new builds as well. So while both parties acknowledge the housing crisis, it is at the moment tomato, and there's not really much to choose between either of them. However, I do think that as a business owner, entrepreneur, and someone that's in property, I'm still definitely better off with voting for Conservative, in my opinion. Right, okay, so that's enough for the market update. I'm going to have a look. I'm just looking through the questions now and try and highlight some of them out. Where are we at with time? We do have a few. I do have a few slides to share with you as well. I'm not sure why the questions aren't loading. I can see that they're here. I'm going to try and read them from the small chat box. Bear with me one moment. I've got lots of people actually telling me their wins, which is fantastic. Lots of people saying good morning. Lots of people wishing me well and asking what happened. Why am I suffering with concussion at the moment? I've got to admit, I got through that property update fairly swiftly, and considering I can't see too well at the moment, and it comes and goes. Actually not too bad, so I'm going to give myself a thumbs up to say good job for showing up today and not getting someone else to do it. So we've got a few questions here, and we have got a few people saying the sound is not very clear, but hopefully I have got other people that are saying they can hear me loud and clear. So if you can just pop in the chat box that you can still hear me. So we've got a question here. What do you believe about property sourcing and deal packaging? For someone who currently has no buy-to-let investment properties or doesn't own his own home, is it a way of gaining entry into the property market? Oh, there's so many questions coming through now. They're disappearing. They're climbing as I'm trying to read. And into the investment industry. Sourcing is a great way of course, getting your foot on the property ladder, building, a pot of money for you to be able to invest in your own portfolio. However, as a competent sourcing agent, you do need to obviously, first of all, you need to be compliant. So there are compliance around being a sourcing agent. and regulations around that. But you also need to understand the industry that you are stepping into. So while you don't need to own a portfolio and you don't need to have done any deals yourself in order to actually be a competent compliant sourcing agent, you do need to understand the industry that you're moving into. So I'd say, yes, absolutely, if you are looking to build capital, to obviously build your network, your knowledge, and teams around you, sourcing is a great way or a great entry for you to get into property, but you do need to get educated. So you do need to, there's lots of free education out there. You may have to pay for education as well, just to make sure that you are providing the best service for your clients and your investors, and you understand the opportunity. I see lots of people that do very basic training and then pop along to do sourcing to build a pot of capital and tap into ready-made databases through other people. However, they're not compliant themselves and they don't understand sourcing fully. To be a competent sourcing agent, you need to recognize opportunity. You need to be able to build relationships. You need to be out there creating those relationships, being the go-to person within your area, being the understanding the area, the strategies that work within that area, where the demand is coming from, what the current supply is, who is the competition, and understanding all of that so that you can actually recognize the opportunity. I see lots of people that just move into sourcing and take every residential home to turn it into a 5 or 6 bed or person HMO, because they see that that's a valid, added value there. However, it all comes down to supply, demand. It comes down to obviously what you purchase at. Have you negotiated a good price? What service are you offering? And what's the end user or the end value of that asset as well? So it's not just about sourcing, it's about understanding the opportunity. And ultimately, HMOs don't work everywhere. So we can't just take the model where we take a terraced house and convert it into a 4 to 6 person HMO and just cross our fingers that it would work. I mean, to be a good, competent sourcing agent, you need to be able to recognize what that area needs, where the opportunity is, and apply a strategy or suggest a strategy to the investor, which is you adding value with local area knowledge, understanding the market, having those local relationships, and leveraging those relationships to the benefit of the investor. So hopefully that answers your question. So if I'm going to try and answer as many. Oh, thank you. So I've got a question. Thank you for answering the questions. Wishing you all the best. Most of these comments are actually just wishing me well. As you can see, I'm perfectly fine. I'm sure it will fade with time. I'm just taking some time at the moment. Yeah, I'm a pretty solid person. There's not much that can keep me down or stop me. I'm here today with concussion and still continuing. We've got someone that's saying we're signing a contract for our 5th project this week. We're so happy, as it has been the best and most exciting 10 months since joining the property world. That is absolutely awesome, and just makes me smile and puts warmth in my heart. Congratulations. You haven't said whether you want me to read your name out or not, so I'm not going to, but a huge, massive congratulations from me and all of our listeners as well. And I think that's all of the questions, to be honest. I could be missing some. I do apologize. I will make sure that I go through them all. If I have missed any, I will answer them personally to you. So I'm just going to run through a few slides with you now. So we have our Hard Hats to Heels female property networking group meeting again on the 12th of April. This is a daytime event, so we alternate between day and evening. So this month we are 10 till 1 o'clock. We have 2 awesome guest speakers. We have Julie Barlow, who is a lease options expert. So for those that are looking to move forward with lease options or want to understand them more, she will be talking about lease options among many other things as well. So definitely come along if you are interested in that particular topic. We also have our very own Charlotte Rutter as well of Roma Finance, who's my favourite person in Roma. Really looking forward to hearing about her journey, but also finance as well. So she'll be able to give you insights around lending, what Roma is all about, how to work with them, etc. But also her journey as a female into finance and property and everything else that us as females juggle within the world of business. So I'm really looking forward to it. We have property royalty as ticket holders, so you are going to be with the best of the best in the room. There's some real high profile names that are attending purely just to be part of the vibe and part of our tribe, so we're really thrilled about that. There are limited tickets available. It is held at my training facility, which is a beautiful grade 2 listed building that I restored. Well, me and my team, of course, restored. Apologise for my dog. Sorry about that. Let me just... My Rottweiler, she might be quiet if she's sat on my lap. So yes, if you haven't secured your tickets yet, please do so. You can do that via visiting our website, or you can actually scan the QR screen on code now. It's QR code on screen now. Right. So. For those that haven't booked their tickets, this is a free event. Anyone in property knows this event. You really should be attending. You can pop along to the website and register your free ticket. I will be there on the 20th. I actually have prior arrangements on the 19th. But if you are there, let me know. Reach out to me on socials. We can meet up, have a coffee. There's some excellent speakers. Nick Clark, who runs Property Investor Show, is an awesome individual. Got a lot of time for him. This event is all about property, education, taking action, lots of industry experts there, lots of free talks. So definitely get yourself along to the Excel in London. It's a great event. And then, of course, we do have Property Elevator coming in June. It feels so, like years ago since we recorded. It's only a few months ago. But sorry about my talk. She's a bit yappy today. But keep your ear to the ground. June, Series 7 will be coming out. We did film in the wonderful studios of the Dragon's Den. It was a superb and the best yet, in my opinion. So Series 7 is definitely going to be one to watch. And then, of course, you can pop along to Property TV and watch Property Question Time. All of the sessions that I do are put onto our YouTube channel as well, which is Your Freedom Empire. We have loads of content on Your Freedom Empire. If you're new to this show, please pop along to our YouTube channel. There's lots of free information on there and lots of stuff that you can tap into. And then, of course, for the gentleman that was looking to do sourcing, actually, we run a Property Success Convention, which is a free one-day webinar where we talk about all things property. It's a jam-packed filled day of learning. We talk about all the different strategies, the fundamentals of each strategist, and ultimately you can actually walk away from this session with the knowledge to be able to start looking at deals and deal sourcing in a different way. So I definitely recommend, if you haven't attended, to pop on to the next Property Success Convention. It is, as I said, a phenomenal one day. It is free, and you can secure your spot by scanning the QR code on screen now. The training that we deliver is actually most people's paid training. Now, the idea is that you can attend this training, make some money out of property, and then pay for a mentorship there afterwards with us as you start moving into more difficult strategies, and of course building your own portfolio as well. So definitely pop along and join us on the next Property Success Convention. And then, of course, we do offer this service where we do a free consultation call with myself or one of the YFE mentors. It's your choice, but you can pop along to our website under the Education Hub on the option menu. You can book a call with YFE expert, or you can scan the QR code on screen now. This is a free 30-minute consultation. So if you want to discuss training or you want to discuss a problem that you're having right now, you can, or both, you can pop along and scan the QR code and you can have a conversation with me or one of the other YFE mentors as well. And hopefully we can help you move forward with your property journey and give you confidence that you're moving in the right direction. But that's all we have time for today. I'm going to say thank you so much for your patience, and thank you for putting up with my Rottweiler. She's particularly, she wants to go out and start running after the ducks, or the ducks running after her. They're double the size to her. But I want to say thank you so much for your patience this morning. Thank you for your questions and all of your well wishes. Really, really grateful for you wishing me well. It's very, very nice of you. And as I said, you can see I'm perfectly fine. I'm here, and I'll be back to my usual self in no time at all. But thank you. I'm going to love you and leave you. I will see you with a guest next month, and also another market update. But I'm going to say have an awesome April. Make it count. Keep celebrating the wins. And I'm going to say goodbye for now.